Hi, Tanita here. Welcome to my channel. Educator of 20 years, I asked my former students, what is the best piece of advice that you live by today? And this is what they had to say.
Thing that I can think of at the moment is it really does take a village. Like
Mm.
my mom, I've heard her say it, my grandmother said, I've heard plenty of family members say it. And as a kid growing up, it's like, what are you talking about? But I definitely see it now. Like, you cannot do everything by yourself. You need help. Even when you think that you don't, you need help. Even when you don't need it, you need help. Like, for sure. And it's important to keep connections.
Mhm.
Now I'm not saying keep people around because you're trying to use them later on. Like, using people is not cool. But actually creating genuine connections
Mhm.
helps you flourish.
It
Um,
does.
I've never been one for networking. That's something I will say that I regret, like, not doing in college, because in college I feel like I definitely shrunk. My personality kind of shrunk. But it's important to network because you never know what people can help you with ever. And if you're comfortable with expressing yourself towards them, if you created this genuine connection, it'll just happen effortlessly.
Mhm.
So having a village is very important, from the small things to you need a ride to the store, to the big things as to where you're like, hey, this is my career I'm talking about, and I need to get with it. I need to get from point A to point B. So that's probably the biggest thing, is it takes a village.
It
So
does.
don't treat people right. Don't burn those bridges, because then you'll be stuck.
You go throughout life, especially when you're younger, I think people become very dependent and they like to compare themselves to others, either people in their peer group or people they
Mhm.
see on social media, whatever. Comparison is miserable because you would think, okay, I should be at this point in my life because this person's at this point. I'm 24, they're 24, and they're making this much money and they're doing this. Why am I not? That's not that them they shouldn't be your focus. You
Mhm.
focus on yourself and you have to build within. Keep building, keep pursuing your passions, keep working
Mhm.
hard and stay disciplined, and you're going to get to that point that you always have set out to be. You can't deviate just because somebody's process was expedited and yours wasn't.
Ooh.
So,
Mhm.
not the ooh. You just can't gauge it off of others. Everybody is their own person and their own individual. Some people were born with advantages and some weren't. And that's not,
Mhm.
you can't change the cards you were dealt. But what you can do is change how you play. So
Mm.
you you can't, you are getting me weak, Anita.
Mhm.
But that's one thing that I had learned as I went through was like, even my best friend, she's doing her own thing in law school. So proud of her. And I'm doing my thing. She didn't take a gap year, but just because she didn't take a gap year don't mean I ain't. Okay. I'm
That's
still
right.
I'm still gonna do what I need to do and enjoy myself while I'm doing it. And as long as you are who you are and you're true to yourself, the people that need to be around will be around. And you will still be happy because you did what Amber wanted to do. You didn't do what Tim, John, Maria, you didn't do what none of them wanted to do. You did it for you.
Mhm.
My go-to key piece of like adulting advice is that you should be listening twice as much as you speak. 100%. And like I don't always do this. I am so talkative. Like you know me, Tanita. This would actually make you laugh. There was a week where I gave myself a sore throat because I literally did not stop talking for like 3 days straight.
Oh my
Yeah, I
God,
measured
Mike, what
it.
were you
I
doing?
I measured it. So I do a lot of like community events and a lot of networking events. So I measured it that week because I was like, what did I do to myself? Each day for like 3 out of 5 days of the week, I spoke for a minimum of like 5 hours each day, and that just completely destroyed my voice.
Wow.
uh Yeah.
You went
So that's
in.
learning to, going back into taking care of myself throughout the day. Important.
Wow. That is insane. But
But
that's true. That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
it makes it so much easier. Like it is almost always better to get more information before, speaking, before sharing, in my opinion. So like I love now paying attention to who is the quietest in a room. Who's the one that's sitting there absorbing everything before they speak, because usually they're pretty insightful because they've listened to everyone give their own spiel, because like a lot of people will speak and focus solely on their own agenda, which is fine. Like that's, you're voicing your opinion, but like that also, that it might not be the most fitting, rather. Like I appreciate people who are gonna like take all of the opinions, kind of see what the flow is, and then from there they can give their opinion, they can give their input if it's applicable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is so true. And like sometimes we get excited. Like when I talk to you, I'm like, what happened? What? Because we just have so much to talk about, right? Like I think I've always been that way with you. And you're right. Sometimes people just want to talk about their agenda and that's it. And when you're talking to people that like that, and they won't change, I don't think, until something
And you're just like
profound
listening to them
happens.
go like me, and you're like, okay, cool, great.
Mm-hmm. And then also, they don't have that spirit to help others. They don't really have that. It doesn't quite resonate where, sometimes your life purpose is to be a human that helps and help others and be kind to others and listen to others. And, it's, you don't have to have the same opinion, but you can, hear out people's thoughts, and then you can counteract and do the act of listening to talk and do that. But I totally dig what you're saying, for sure.
Yeah.
So you're talking, but you know that you have to listen more.
Yeah, that's literally like half of the sales process for me anyway. Like I need to ask questions to get you talking about what it is that you genuinely care about. Once I understand and I listen to what you really care about, then I can give you my pitch. I can give you my solutions.
I think I said this before, but it came from you. It was more leadership. Lead by example, not by authority, pretty much. That was probably the best, because it kind of honed into the idea of like, if I want to lead something, be a leader of something, I need to not demand. It needs to be a conversation, an altogether conversation. What are you thinking? What are you doing? Leading, facilitating that conversation, facilitating that role. So lead by example in that sense, and not authority. Just because you're a leader, you're not an authority figure. You'll never be an authority figure. If you want a positive environment within whatever you're leading, there is no authority. We are all team players.
Yes. Yes, we are. It's a team. It takes a team.
It takes 2 to tango. It takes 3 to tango. There's no I in team, so. But I think the other thing too that I learned as being a teacher throughout the years, us teachers, we want to save everyone. But you have to remember, we can lead the horse to water, but we can't make the horse drink the water.
Bing.
We can't save everyone. So stop reducing your mental health and your energy for someone that you gave so many opportunities with that still don't want to do it. You did everything you need to do. Just because it wasn't a successful story, there's going to be thousands of more in the future.
One of the things that I carried sometimes unintentionally and other times extremely intentionally is just like always live your life with very diverse experiences. Whether, it's some things that you're born with. Like for me, like my dad is Indian and my mom is Italian. I was born with a very diverse cultural background, right? Obviously, not everybody can control that, but like what you can control are like the people that you're around or the things that you do on a daily basis, right? Like I know some people who, have friends who are very similar to them, who have had the same friend groups for like several years, who have, do the same thing day in, day out, and don't try new things, right? And for me, that's not really what life is about. You're only on this earth for a limited amount of time. And whether it's like going to new destinations, like traveling, exploring new passions, or even like taking the passions that you have and diving more into them. I think those are ways that I love to diversify my life, right? So like with Science Achievers, for example, like diversifying the amount of backgrounds and perspectives that I was around in terms of people on a weekly basis, right? Right now, like or in college, I double majored in political science on top of computer science and statistics. Right now, for example, like, my main hobby is, freelance travel writing. And I call it a hobby because it is something that I do for fun in my own free time. I just happen to get paid for it. And then like another thing that I love to do is like, cooking new recipes. And like, I recently, like now that I moved to DC, I've started taking oil painting classes, and I have basically no like artistic bone in my body, but it was something that I wanted to go and venture and try and do, because that's how you grow your brain. That's how you learn about yourself. That's how you learn about the world around you. And if you don't step out of your adventure zone, you eventually stop learning. And by stepping out of your comfort zone, by trying new things, you grow significantly as a person.
This is something that I've heard from multiple people, but it was something that I heard very specifically from a career advisor that I met with a few weeks ago, who said to me, like, you need to make sure that anything that you decide to do is something you're running to, and that you're doing it because you're running to it, and you're not doing it because you're running away from something else. And that was something that she said to me in response to me saying I was applying to grad school, because, I had just ended a job that wasn't the right fit for me. And, the idea was like, make sure that I'm not going to grad school just to get away from something I didn't like. Make sure I was going to do that because it was something that I loved. And I think that's something that pretty much applies to everything. Anything you're going to commit to is something you should, I think, where you need to take that into account. But that was really helpful to me. And it was like so concisely said. I was like impressed. She said it so perfectly. And so that's a more recent piece of advice. So I guess I haven't really had that so many opportunities to use it, but it was still something that I think was really valuable, and something that I think I will be like incorporating into the way I think about things.
Yes, like in terms of the last point you made, I think I have a lot of hope for my generation and everything like that. I think we're very much like not wanting so much conflict and a more resolution focus. So I think that's a good promise. But yeah, I just think like final words is, again, just be persistent and I guess find your passion about, be persistent, and then also just, whenever you encounter conflict, don't try to like go the other way. Just try to resolve it and talk through things, because you never know whose perspectives you're going to you kind of incorporate into your life and give you more insight too, in the face of conflict also. And also make the world more harmonious that way too in your life.
And I think a part of traveling abroad for me is constantly just being like open to the experiences, open to the new ways of life and the way, cultures kind of meet, and, exploring some portion of something that's new to me. And so I think my longest and most major travels were, I went to Italy, I went to Rome to do my master's. I went to Senegal to do a study abroad program. And, just like kind of, I got my first international trip was in high school. And so I think then the travel bug kind of just really showed its roots. And ever since then, I think I've been always just really like excited to go places. And so, getting up and deciding, in the middle of the pandemic, I was like, I need to go. I need to go somewhere. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going to go, but we are going to, get somewhere new and just like absolutely change the sphere of what I'm doing. And I think it was just like such an exhilarating moment to like just get up and just like, put it together. And, I don't think if I had told myself leaving undergrad that I would be leaving to go do my master's overseas, I would have believed myself because I was already very set on not going to grad school. And, just like the change of circumstance like that just made that a whole different trip. And I think, you know, making the space around it, a whole new piece of it and just having a chance to enjoy a new world while I was at it, just really made it a much more exciting trip.
I think I'm learning that a lot of the work I'm doing does sum up to something, right? I think for a lot of time, I was doing a lot of work and not seeing a lot of results, but now I am. So I think, I don't know, I also think that there's a lot of ageism that I had to contradict or to fight against, right? I think people are always so surprised that I'm still 23 and have already done so much with my life. But
honey, you are doing
well, and I think that's part of the like survival that I needed to do, right? Like I have to have a job while I was an undergrad and doing these work. And I also think that like if you are passionate about something, you do have to put your 110 in until you have enough opportunities and resources to where you can put 50% in, like it's, and obviously for folks of color and other minoritized groups, like that work is compounded, but I don't know. I feel like I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor, and I think resilience is really important. That's it. People should also take a break. I'm burning out. So
you need a vacay, actually.
I need like